Health enhancement has as one of its fundamental components in all situations to try as much as possible to cultivate an easeful body, a peaceful mind, and a useful life, as Swami Satchidananda would often tell his students over and over again as the tenets of integral yoga. Releasing stress is one of the key components in cultivating a peaceful mind and an easeful body. How do we release stress? What is stress? How does it creep into our lives? And what does the medical community have to say about stress and health and well-being? Well, Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard Medical School did a lot of research on what's called the relaxation response and the implications of stress and distress in our daily life. He came to the conclusion that up to 80% of all visits to the doctor are stress-related. And I would just put in one caveat to that statistic, because I think stress has got a bad name. I think many of us look for stress. We thrive on stress. We love stress. It brings out the best in our performance in daily life. Can you imagine a sporting event without a time frame in which it has to finish, and it would just go on for weeks and months and years? It would certainly not be as performance enhancing as the last minute of the game that brings out incredible abilities in players who've been training for years for that last minute's performance. So stress is not necessarily bad. It can actually be the elixir for bringing out the best of who we are. But we have to make a distinction between stress and stress. The definition of distress is when the increasing changes in our environment, such as time limitation, no longer produces positive behavior, but actually compromises our performance in our interactions with other people, in our tasks at hand, in our mental clarity, health, and well-being. So really, when we're talking about releasing stress, we're talking about releasing distress. In order to do this, we have to know what our stress profile looks like. Take, for example, waking up in the morning. Many of us have an alarm clock. I've often laughed at the name an alarm clock. You know, what a way to start the day with an alarm. Why isn't it called an opportunity clock, or a clock for service, or a clock for sharing? Why an alarm clock? So we start off with an alarm clock. The bell rings, something that reminds us we have to be somewhere soon. There's a desire to be somewhere. And immediately, with that alarm comes a sense of urgency, a sense of awakening, a sense of motivation, hopefully, if we're going to make our appointments. Well, that actually can produce pretty positive behavior patterns. It gets us from a sedentary state into a physical movement state, which allows us to achieve our objectives. The problem with that is when there's very little time and a lot to do in that time, and that's often indicative of our stress profile. How do we handle that? As the time shortage, as the expectation shortages, as the opportunity scarcity is inflicted upon us by time and space fixations in our mind, is our performance being enhanced or is it being compromised? Look at your life. Are patterns repeating themselves over and over again? You're stuck in a traffic jam. You're caught in a time capsule where you need to be somewhere and you're not there, and your teeth are being clenched, your hands are being clenched, your mind is being agitated, your breath is erratic. This tells you what your stress profile looks like when you shift from motivating stress to debilitating stress, or what we're calling distress. And that's what we want to know. How do we become more stress hardy? How do we teach ourselves to be able to handle increasing changes in our environment without it compromising our ability to serve, to give, to share, to care, both for ourselves and those around us? Well, there's some great techniques available. So rather than focusing just on stress, which is our reaction to change in our environment, which is very subjective, by the way, one person's stress is not even noticed by another person who's so used to it that it's part of every day. One person's distress could actually be another person's adventure. So remember, distress and stress are completely subjective experiences that are based upon your reaction to change. And to encourage or enhance stress hardiness, being able to handle more and more change without it compromising our performance, we have techniques like guided deep relaxation, or as the yogis call it, yoga nidra. This in psychological terminology is often referred to as progressive muscle relaxation, going through the different parts of the body, tensing the muscles, exaggerating whatever tension may exist in the body at the present time, and with the exhale, releasing both the exaggerated tension as well as the underlying tension that may have been there to begin with. You go through the body from the toes all the way up to the head and neck area, tensing and releasing. And once you've done that physically, another round of through the body where you're actually just mentally visualizing the different parts of the body, telling those parts of the body to let go of any residual stress or tension that might exist. This can be added to with a guided visualization. Once the body is on a muscular level totally relaxed, taking that relaxation to the mind by transporting yourself to a holiday environment, sounds of nature, beautiful experiences that may reside in your memory or you may have seen in a movie or a picture or read in a book, and actually visualize yourself being there, totally relaxed, totally at peace. So we have progressive muscle relaxation, we have a guided visualization, and then a third technique for releasing stress can be receptive imagery, where you actually go to a certain part of the body that may be of concern to you, whether it's the heart, the lungs, agitated mind, any organ, any part of the body, or in fact your life. And you inquire mentally in this relaxed state, what is the source of this tension, this disturbance to my ease, and what can I do about it? And then you listen. You listen to that inner voice within you, you listen to that inner wisdom, and you do something in terms of making a commitment to address the underlying causes. Yet another technique for releasing stress in your daily life is reframing. Reframing is the art of looking at something in a completely different way than that which produces distress. It's the old, is the glass half empty or is it half full? Are you seeing what's wrong in life or are you seeing what's right with your life? Well, if you've seen any of the other podcasts on health enhancement, you know that the essence of health enhancement is all about looking at what you can do, not what you can't. Looking what is healthy about your life, not at focusing on what disease process or what's wrong with your life. Well, the same is true with releasing stress. We're actually reframing our life to see the obstacles that may be placed in our way, whether they be time, physical limitation, challenges in our community, our families, our environments, as opportunities for growth. We've mentioned pronoia in other podcasts. Well, again, I'd like to mention it again. Pronoia is seeing the obstacles in your daily life as opportunities to take you to higher levels of joy, a conspiracy of joy, orchestrated only for you to take you into places where you previously may have been distressed, only to reframe them and see them as if they were placed there to make you more stress hardy and able to tap into abilities that you never knew that you had prior to them coming into your life. So reframing, receptive imagery, guided visualization, progressive muscle relaxation, and of course, meditation are all wonderful tools to release stress in your daily life. And as Dr. Benson talks about in the books such as The Relaxation Response, the physiology that comes with a calm and peaceful body and mind is beneficial for all of the physiological functions that may be directly impacting on whatever disease processes or challenges you may currently be facing. So please set as a high priority in your life taking time out to develop your stress hardiness through these techniques, and the benefits will flow to you.